Okay, so our Zoom session is active. You can connect to it if you like. If you've forgotten how, remember in our announcements, under our recent announcements, there is this Zoom link, and you can just go to that announcement and click on that link. Forgotten how to get there. So let's make a letter. You ready? We want to go to Canvas and go to SAM. So let's see, I have a link on the home page, or you could go to the Week 10 modules, but on the home page, if you just click on this Word 3 Practice SAM Textbook Project, it'll take you to SAM, and you can start that project. Now mine, I'll just download. I know yours is a little different. And I should be ready. So mine is really just a new document. New. Okay, everybody ready? We've got our new blank document here, ready to go.
Okay, one more time.
All right.
So on the, you access it from the main screen or main home screen?
Yep, from your, let me get back there. So you can go to Home, and we're in Week 10. So Word 3 Practice SAM Textbook Project. And then you'll have to click the link again on that next screen. And then this SAM screen, you'll have the Start button you'll have to click on to get the download. I know it looks different. Did you get it? Got it?
Yeah, start.
Yep, start,
Download.
download.
Just open and not save. Open or should we save this file?
If you want to save it to your H drive, just make sure you keep that file name. Okay, so we want to change a couple of settings here before we get started. We want our print layout button to be clicked. So down here at the bottom in your status bar, you want that middle print layout document, or button, sorry. Then we want to show our formatting characters. So click on your Home tab, click the backwards P, the Show Formatting. And then you can display the page width, the same width as the document window, kind of like mine is. If you need, if yours is not displaying this way, you want to click on the page width in your View tab. So View, page width, and it'll make it full screen for you. I'm going to go back to my Home tab though, after getting off there on the View tab. Whenever we're working with a letter, we want to change the default margins. Our normal margins are an inch. I think they say an inch on both sides and an inch on the top and an inch on the bottom. But for a letter, we do things a little bit differently. So we want to check on our margins. So go to your Layout tab. And then click your Margins tool. And we want to go to this moderate setting. Notice it's going to make our left and right margins 3/4 of an inch instead of a full inch. And this might be one of those things that you could change a little bit if your letter was looking a little too empty. You might make the margins a little wider. But they say we want our margins to be a little more narrow as a standard so that we can fit more of a sentence on each line. So when you click on moderate, you won't see a lot of change. You just see your insertion point move just a little bit. Now we're going to create letterhead, and I keep saying that. What is letterhead? Letterhead is like your official company's logo and identifying information, along with their address information that we always put at the top of a letter. And back in the day, people would have all of these pieces of paper pre-printed with their fancy letterhead on them. So I could actually go down to the secretary down there at the desk and ask for some letterhead, and she would give me some pieces of paper that had the OTC letterhead on them already. It's really expensive. It costs a lot of time and effort to get that kind of thing done. Print shops really like it. So we're seeing, as time goes by, fewer and fewer companies pre-printing that letterhead like that, because they can just set it up in Word and then just print the letterhead automatically with every letter. So you might see it both ways, but you could actually be in a company where it's a really big deal to use the letterhead and they won't let you touch it unless you're authorized. So things are changing, but it is a changing, something that's in flux. Now, some of the things in the letterhead, we want our elements centered kind of across the page. Some people might want everything over on the left. It's all a fancy design decision. You can kind of set it up however you like, and it's going to be a statement of your company again, your company's image. So the letterhead is really important. We want to use fonts that are easy to read. We want to make sure that our organization or individual people have impact by making their font larger than the rest of the text. So we might have the manager or the president of the company's name in our letterhead. We might not. But we're going to start out by inserting a shape. So let's go to the Insert tab. I have to click twice, my delayed reaction time here. And I want to insert a shape. So look across your toolbar on your Insert tab there and find that Shapes tool. Do you see it? It's in this Illustrations group. And the Shape tool gives you a drop-down. And on this drop-down list, you have a bunch of different shapes or objects you could choose from. We want a rectangle. So if you look at this rectangles group, let's grab that very first rectangle. Just click on it. And now our insertion pointer changes to the crosshairs. So we want to move these crosshairs to the top left position of where we want to start our rectangle. I'm going to get mine right up here. And when you click, it's going to start drawing the rectangle. You want to hold your mouse button down until you get the rectangle drawn the way you want it. Then release your mouse button and it'll leave that rectangle there in place. Try it a few times, kind of see how it drags across. You can try some of those other shapes too. If you go back to your Insert tab, we don't need any other shapes, but one that's kind of interesting to draw is one of the stars. Grab a star and just try to draw it down here. And notice how as you stretch it around, it'll kind of reorient that shape for you. So just get it the way you want it. I don't want that star, so while it's selected, I can press the Delete key to make it go away. Now we'd like to change some of the properties or the characteristics of our rectangle. So click on your rectangle again so that it's selected. Notice how as soon as you click on it, when you selected it, it brought these drawing tools up and it changed what tab you were on in your toolbar to this Format tool under the drawing tools. So sometimes, I know I've tricked myself where I had some text selected and I'm looking at a shape and I don't know why it won't give me the drawing tools. Just click on that shape or that picture to get those drawing tools to come up. Now we want to resize our triangle a little bit. So try some different resizing handles. See how things work when you resize. You could do the rotate tool if you wanted to rotate it. completely around. Remember, as you're trying things, if something happens that you don't like, just Control Z to undo so that you can get rid of that change. Now, this right here, this little button, is the layout options. You can click it and it'll give you some choices about how this picture should be set up. We'll be looking at it a little bit more here in just a second. In talking about that though, this object, this picture, was inserted into our document as a floating object. We have two types, inline and floating. I'm going to show you the difference here. Whenever we inserted our picture in our flyer, that first word assignment that we were doing, it was inserted as an inline object. So that meant its position and all of its rotated characteristics were determined by the paragraph that it was in. So if you remember, we set our paragraph to center, and then when we inserted that image, our image was centered. Well, this rectangle is a floating object instead of an inline object. And that gives us more capability to be able to move this object around, put it in different places, and change some of its other characteristics. So they want us to click on our rectangle again. Let me get mine selected. And notice the Arrange group in your drawing tools. Do you see this group here? All of these are Arrange tools. So our position and our text wrapping and all of these things we can use to change our object's position. And of course, there's so many ways we can do things in Word. So they want you to try all sorts of different options in this position object gallery. So try some things. Notice how even though we don't have text on our document, some of those options just make our rectangle just completely disappear. These position options are determining how we want this floating picture to behave along with text and other objects. Do we want it to be beside those objects, in front of them, behind them? So we have all those different layout options that we can choose. They want us to choose position in top center with square text wrapping. So that should be that middle one on the top. Let me make sure, mouse over it. Yeah, position in top center with square text wrapping. So I'm going to choose that. Now we can also make other changes to the layout. Let's see, click your layout options. I always right click, and if you right click, you can choose the wrap text. You can see the wrap text options also. And we want this one that says top and bottom. That way, our object is not going to cover our document text. Text will stay around it. We can't really tell if the text wrapping is changed because we don't have any text. But you can tell your paragraph mark. Do you have a paragraph mark? There it is. Got to turn mine back on. Is below it. Okay, so try some of those different options with your layouting. You can use the layout tool here, the right-click layout tool. You have so many different options. Okay, with our Word document, we'd like to set up a style for our document, and we saw that before. We want to go to our drawing tools in our Format tab, and then all of the colored blocks here are different shape styles. They want us to turn our shape gray. If you click the drop down, you can find all of the different grays. They want us to use this gray, moderate effect, gray 50%, accent 3. And notice that it does do the live previews with all the different shapes and styles. So you can try all sorts of different ones and see what you like. It was, yeah, this fourth one. So right in the middle, second from the middle. Okay, so beautiful gray. Now, do what?
One more question for the gray.
No problem.
So it's 3 grays down.
3 grays down.
Okay.
4
grays down. All right.
Well, if you count this top one.
You go from 0.
Go from 0. It's the 4th one down. Yeah. Now we want to add some text into our rectangle. And there's lots of ways, again, we can do it, but we can use that right-click menu that brings up our mini toolbar. And we want to add text. So if you see that option on your right-click menu, that's what we want to do. So by default, our little shape, our rectangle shape, doesn't include any text, but we can add some. Because we chose that style earlier, that gray style, we should have a font color that goes along with that. Yes, sir?
Is it a big deal that my paragraph marker is black if you're white?
Inside your rectangle or outside?
I think you click on gray.
Yeah, let's choose your gray again.
It's the 4th one down from the first gray.
You hover over it, it actually has a pop-up.
Yeah, it says the name.
Moderate effect, gray 50, accent 3.
Okay, sorry guys.
You're fine.
Oh, there we go.
You see those words? It was hiding from you.
Okay, there we
Good
go.
job. Good observation so that Sam doesn't slam you with that font choice. Okay, words. We want this to say Village of Apple Park. So we see our white font because we had chosen that style. Now, after you get the name typed, we want to select that name. So let's grab it. And they want us to try on the Home tab, switching around here, there's this item that says increase font size. Do you see it? I never use it. There it is. So we have big A beside our font size of 11 and a little a. The big A is going to increase our font size. The little a would decrease it. And they want us to click that button to increase until we get our font up to 26. I think that I could just click there and choose 26. But that's why I don't know where those buttons are. We need you to know where they are. Okay, now, if you accidentally click it too many times, just click the decrease. And get it back the way you want it. Now, another way that you can increase the font is by pressing Control-Shift+. And that plus arrow with Control-Shift will increase the size of your font. See, Control-Shift+. Kind of like a toggle. Takes it back and forth. So try it. Now, with our text selected, still, we'd like to make it bold. We really want it to stand out. And then click anywhere in your shape to check your text. Make sure everything looks good. All look good? Now we want to update our theme for our letter in our letterhead. Remember that document theme is that combination of colors and fonts and effects. And our current theme is Office. Office uses Calibri and Calibri Light, that's how you say those, as its fonts, and it uses shades of grays and blues primarily. Now we want to change our theme to circuit because we want to use reds and oranges on our letterhead because those colors are associated with energy, success, creativity, and enthusiasm. Awesome. Let's do it. So on your home tab, nope, sorry, design tab. We want to change the design. We want the design tab. In the very far left corner, you see the themes button. Click that drop down, and we want to find circuit. So it is 4 down and 2 over. And notice how it changed that gray to a red for us, because that gray was just so boring. Now again, you could try different themes if you want and make sure that they're the way that you like them. On our shape, make sure, click on your rectangle for a second and go to your drawing tools. And we need to make sure that we're the exact right size. So on your format tab in your drawing tools, the height and the width are up on this right corner. And we want our height to be 0.53 and our width to be 5.7. That should be one of the last things that we have to do to our shape. Sure. The height is 0.53 and the width is 5.7. Everybody okay? I like when you help each other. Is it not matching?
No, mine does.
Okay.
What?
Okay, this banner is looking pretty good across the top. What we're going to do is add this little apple picture for each side of it. So we're going to be inserting a picture from an online source. So first, let's get our insertion point to the right place. I want to click right here before my paragraph mark so that I'm not inside that rectangle. I just want to make sure that I'm outside of it. Now, when we're going to add a picture.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
My paragraph marker thing is like just below the left corner of the Village of Apple Park banner. Is there a reason it should be over to the left of yours? Like yours is? It's the size of your rectangle.
It's from me changing the size of my rectangle.
Oh, okay. So it's okay that my banner is wider?
Make sure your width is 5.7. If you click on your rectangle.
Width is 5.7, height is 0.53.
Uh-huh. So you should be okay. It's probably just a difference in how we're viewing it.
Okay.
Now I'm going to click again, make sure I'm at my paragraph marker, and I'm going to choose Insert. So anytime we're going to insert something into our document, we want to use the Insert menu. And that could be a page break, it could be the date, could be a page number, or a picture. So we want to use this online pictures option. And of course, they want us to search Bing. And we want to search Bing for Apple. Now this is pretty cool because by doing it this way, notice that Word is automatically only looking for images that have an Open Creative Commons license. So by using this facility to insert pictures, we know that we're getting things that we're not going to be violating any copyrights on if we use them. So let's find the picture that we want. They want us to use this little kind of cartoony apple. See if I can find it. And as you scroll, it'll keep adding more images to your list for you to look at. I don't think we want that wormy apple. We'll see if we can find their apple because they mentioned that it might be harder to find. Oh, there it is. Close enough anyways.
I haven't found it, so I just choose.
Yes, I want to proceed. Well, I think this one looks pretty close. And they say, by the way, that if you can't find it, you could use the apple that they have in the student data files. So we could go find that if we wanted to. That looks just like it. It's getting mad at me. So just pick an apple. I'm going to pick this one. I don't know how far I'm down in there. It's this little kind of cartoony one that has a green leaf. It'll probably yell at us. Now, I don't want this giant one. I got it inserted twice. So let's fix it. Now, when we insert this picture, it's not necessarily the size that we would like. So I'm clicking on my picture, and we should see our Picture Tools Format tab active. Looking at our Format toolbar for Picture Tools, we can find the Advanced Layout button. Do you see it?
Where's that?
We're looking for, all right, we've got our Picture Tools up, we're looking at our format, and we're gonna go to this size setting and click on the icon down there by size to bring up this size dialog box. So do you see it, the little teeny launcher for our size group? Now, when you click on that little launcher for the size group, you're going to see the size dialog box come up, and it's going to give us some different options. Let me see what they want for us. We've got our Picture Tools size. They want the height to be 8%.
So
They say just to type an 8 in there. Mine's going to be minuscule. That's not going to work. We're going to have to go find that picture that they have. I'm going to delete this picture I apologize. Let's go to our insert menu. And instead of using online pictures, let's choose pictures. And then we want to go to this PC and this Stu Data S drive. Find the CIS folder, CIS101. Course data, Cengage data files, Word, Module 3, and there's the Apple picture. Oh my goodness. Help each other find that. Okay, this one's going to work better. Now when we follow their instructions, things won't get all mangled. Okay, it was a long ways down in there though. But I do think that that online pictures option is pretty neat. I've not really used that a lot. So I'm going to go back to my size dialog box using the size launcher again. Good pointing. I like that arrowing. And then we want to make our height 8. And if you press tab, it should change your width automatically to 8. And then click OK. Ah, now we have an apple that's the right size. We could have figured out our size eventually, but then Sam would have counted your scores all wrong. Now, the reason Word automatically filled in the width or the height was because the lock aspect ratio checkbox was selected. So if we would have unchecked that, we could have made it not square or however, whatever size we wanted to make it. Now, how do we know to use 8%? They just knew for this one. They'd already tried it. So sometimes you have to try different sizes and determine what works best for you. But that should be good for us for our picture. Now we're going to change this color of our apple. So while it's still selected, we want to click on this color tool. So notice where we are. We're in our picture tools on our format toolbar, and we want color. We want to choose washout. And you could try some other ones if you like to see how they affect your image. And we could always reset the picture back to its default by using that reset picture button. So if we apply a bunch of changes and we get it so messed up that we can't fix it, we can reset it. Okay, so our apple's going to be a little washed out. But we need one more thing on this apple. We'd like to get rid of this yellowy kind of border. Let me click somewhere. Kind of a off yellow. It's real pale now. So again, with your picture selected, in your picture tools format, click on color, and we want to choose set transparent color. Once you click on this, the next color you click on with this transparent color tool, the little magic wand, is going to be made transparent. So I'm going to click on that yellow and watch that yellow disappear. And that's a really good tool to use, especially if you're going to be putting things into PowerPoint. PowerPoint uses that tool a lot. Get it?
I think that's through Cengage.
Now, if you do make the wrong color transparent, remember Control Z. Control Z will undo, and it'll undo that change, because some of these changes we don't really have another way to undo. Now we'd like to make a few more adjustments to our picture. We've got it kind of washed out, but it's pretty washed out. So let's see if we can fix it a little bit more. Let's do some correction. So notice the little sunshine icon for corrections. Use its drop down. And we want to go to this one here that says brightness and contrast will both be decreased by 20%. So he's kind of this one here in this area. Oh, now that apple looks pretty good. Now try some different corrections if you want and see what they do to things. Apple looks pretty good. But now let's give it a border. Let's give it an outline. So we're still selected on our picture. Find this picture border tool. Now it's right up here at the top past your styles gallery. Good arrowing. On your picture border, we want to do lime accent 1 darker 25%. That one right there.
Say that again.
Lime accent 1 darker 25%. So the second to the last green one. Now when you do that, you should see a green box around your apple. It's looking good. Now we want to change the layout options for our apple. We want to be able to move it to wherever we want. So click on this little button, the layout options. And we want to choose in front of text. So it is the last of the 6 in front of text. And then we can close our layout options. Now let's move this graphic before we've got to go. We got time. Now, of course, when I'm working with an image, I want the 4-headed, 4-arrow pointer. And then I'm going to grab that picture and move it up here to the edge of our red triangle. Now notice that as you move it, you should see some guides, some alignment guides. I'm not seeing them, but if you do, they're just helping you line things up. Now, we'd like to have this apple at the beginning and the end of our rectangle. So let's copy it. So you can right-click and copy, or you can go to your home screen and choose copy, or you can Control-C. But then when you paste, make sure you keep your source formatting. So you keep that green bar around it in our transparency settings. Now notice how it puts it really close to where your previous image was. Where it's not very good about positioning these pasted objects, we kind of have to position them on our own. Before we position it, paste, paste, paste. We're going to move that thing over to the other side. Move your mouse pointer around till you get to that 4-headed arrow thingy, and then move it over to this side. One last thing for our picture. We want to flip that apple picture so that the leaf is pointing the same direction on both of them. So of course, lots of ways we can do that, but let's go to our picture tools. And we have a rotate button here. So choose that drop down and let's flip that horizontally. So now it's the same picture. It's just got the leaf going the other direction. Let's save Now for me, I'm going to do File Save As because mine is just in my Downloads folder. And I had to redo that one this weekend to make that video, which messed me up because I should have saved it to my H drive. So I'm going to go to my Documents folder, my CIS101 folder, and I'm going to save this document there.
And this should be titled vendor letter.
Then your last name and your first name.
Yes.
I wish it would save mine the same. Sure. Do File, Save As, then click on Browse. And over on the side, you can just click on Documents. And that should be your H drive. And so then put it wherever you want. I have a CIS101 folder, so I put it in there. So we're almost done with our letterhead. We'll finish it next time and do our letter. Be set.
It's not enough numbers. What is it? 19. I forgot the second one.